not to, no matter how bad things did, the fact say we are alive is something that we should always thank God for. I will always say it anytime I come up on this program because, like I say, when we discuss this issue, sometimes it always feels like magic. It always feels like it's something that we found ourselves right at this moment. And I must tell you that I'm one of the persons who would always be grateful, regardless of how bad things are. I will always be grateful. It's issues in the news right here on your number one voice platform, Voice of the People. 90.3. My name is Esther Mwachuku, and as usual on this program, we get to talk about issues that affect the polity, affect every segment of the society, so long as it has to do with us, so long as it has to do with our well-being, so long as it has to do with the policies that are being used to run the economy, the policies implemented, we will always talk about it. Now, recently we found out that there is huge concerns in every sector. If you talk about aviation right now, if you want to travel to any other part of the country, you cannot believe how much the fare is, and the roads are not so safe. So of course the best option is to go by air, and then of course the fare is not, it's not something to write home about right now. If you actually go in economic class to any part of the world, to any part of Nigeria, you'll be seen as someone that has money. But because of the kind of jobs that we do, it's important that we meet up with assignments, meet up with appointments, whichever part of the country that we work. That's one of the issues that we need to also consider. Then let's also look at economic revamping. We've had policies several times, especially when it comes to some policy implementations that would help to boost the economy and encourage cash circulation. But there's been a crunch in that aspect right now. And of course, Godwin Emefiele, the chairman, that is the president of the Central Bank of Nigeria, will always come up with several monetary policy rates, always come up with, would I call it implementations that will help to boost the economy. But sometimes it doesn't work. We still have forex shortage. You see, if you look at how all these sectors affect our everyday life, you'll begin to understand the scenario that we are working with and how Nigerians are actually coping with all these challenges. Somehow it's like the system is there to discourage you from doing what you're supposed to do, no matter how you try to put the effort. Tomorrow you wake up to hear one or two things in the news, next tomorrow, so you're not even certain that you getting out of the house to go to wherever it is you want to go, that you will come back hale and safe, or that you'll meet your loved ones when you return. So that's the current state of Nigeria at the moment. However, we need to apply caution in what we do and keep ourselves abreast in what is going on in the polity. My name is Esther Mwachuku, and welcome to Issues in the News. Like I rightly said when I was talking earlier, that this is where we talk about issues that affect every aspect of the economy. Now, the unfortunate scenario that happened, transpired yesterday, is something we are going to talk about this morning on the program. It's unfortunate. I really don't like to come here to talk about such unfortunate circumstances or such depressing stories, but that's where we have found ourselves, and we have to talk about it. So apparently 3 persons died and several others were injured yesterday when a BRT vehicle rammed into a market fence at Alagbere in the Ketu area of Lagos State. And of course, the result of that particular scenario was that there was a brake failure when the incident happened, which was early in the morning by 7. So you can imagine the trunge of persons who are actually trying to put their goods at the market at their various stores, especially those who went to go and buy bulk of consumables at that particular area. And then this kind of unfortunate scenario happens. It's really sad news. It's not something I really want to talk so much about, but then it's what is in the news, and there are some things I want us to look into together and talk about. Eyewitnesses said the BRT vehicle crushed a woman who was coming from the markets, and also an apprentice trying to cross the road, and of course a wheelbarrow pusher. The victims were said to have died on the spot, and the driver fled the scene. That is even the unfortunate and saddening aspect of that particular story. The driver fled the scene. Now, we've had several occurrences when it comes to BRT buses and the drivers that drive the buses. So I want to understand, what is the recruitment process like for these drivers that drive those buses? What are the checks that they go through? Or is it the Lagos state government that is in charge of it? Or is it another private organization, in partnership with the Lagos state government that is in charge of it? Because sometimes when we look at how these things go, that is the behind the scenes process. There is an individual who has invested in supporting commercial activities, that is commercial social mobilization in Lagos State. So they partner with the state government, either they share the profit afterwards, or to enable the state government when it comes to such circumstances. And are they the ones responsible for recruiting these drivers? What trainings do they go? What checks and balances do they put in place? This same BRT bus scenario is also one that we're still in the court for. A driver who raped a lady, Bamishe, who actually unfortunately died. He raped her in one of the BRT buses and then tried to make it seem as if no, it was not his fault, or it was a kidnapped case where they took advantage of the young lady. And witnesses are coming in court to testify that that particular driver has been taking advantage of women in BRT buses. He turns off the lights, takes them to one undisclosed location, pretends like, oh, it was a mistake. He took them to a location that is not where they were supposed to go. And then all of a sudden you hear he either attempts to rape them or he rapes them. Most of them can't talk. They just want to be happy that they are alive. So the question I'm asking today is, if we blame the government most of the time for most of these things, what about the areas through which some incidences can be avoided? That's what I want to talk about today. The incident that took place yesterday morning, individuals woke up to go to the markets, either to purchase items in large bulk, or some persons who went to the market to buy things early, get back home and go to wherever destination they want to go to for the rest of the day, unfortunately died. And the way the death was painful. It was supposed to be avoided. The BRT bus did not know that his brake was bad. The driver did not check what he's supposed to check. That is something everybody does in the morning before they take their vehicles and put it on the road. So what is going on? Especially within Lagos State, death has become a recurrent circumstance that we witness. That is no longer strange when people hear that somebody died gruesomely. It's no longer strange when you're walking by the road and you see a dead body on the road. It's now a daily occurrence. We have taken it to be part of the norm for a normal daily existence. I have via the telephone Mr. Elvis Elimihele. He's joining us via the telephone today. We do know him. He's a public affairs analyst, a political analyst as well, and he's also a civic advocate. Well, I'll call him a public defender. He will actually put things into perspective for us this morning before we open the phone lines, where you can get to tell us if you've actually had any experience like this or any scenario that you know and what can be done. Is it this Lagos state government that can do something, or is it private individuals responsible for these drivers, whichever way the recruitment process goes, that needs to do something as soon as possible so we do not experience this kind of occurrence anymore. Mr. Elvis, good morning. I'm fine. Can you hear me? Okay, just hold on. Let me try and see if I can fix this, because you're not coming out. We can hear you outside. Let's try another. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yes, now I can hear you. Very
Thank
program.
you so much. Yes. Yeah, I ran into town yesterday and met queues at the filling station. We have a very long shock absorber in this nation.
Mm-hmm.
So, you. And we are hearing this morning that domestic gas is going to be increased by 61%, which means we don't be talking about how to stock their homes. I don't know where anyway, we know we are very religious in this part of the world. We say God will do it. I know God will not disappoint us. Thank you, Esther.
You're welcome. So you heard the intro to the program this morning.
Yes. It's very unfortunate. My heart goes out to those that lost their loved one yesterday. May their soul rest in peace. It's an unfortunate situation, especially when the issue is coming from such a rated transport system by the state government. BRT came and it was so celebrated by Nigerians, especially the Russians. I even remember then some countries came to Nigeria to borrow the idea of also setting up this BRT in their country. Like Ghana came then when it should be asking ourselves as Lagosians. We don't know whether the system is improving or is decaying, because some of the stories that are coming out from BRT services are not encouraging at all. So, like you just mentioned, we heard a while ago the rape of the girl that died.
Bamishe.
Though the case is still in court, we may not be able to talk into that so much.
Yes.
But when we are hearing this kind of negative report from such a highly rated transport system from state government, is very frustrating. But however, we have to look at certain things, certain parameters that may lead to some of these things that happen. One, we have to first of all look at the recruitment process of the drivers that handle these buses. How are they recruited? What experience do they have? Is it the same way politicians recruit? Oh, it is my own, it's my own, it must be my own. When you are talking of mass transit of this nature, you are moving people from one end to another, especially in a city, very prosperous cities like Lagos. You have to look at experienced persons, people who are good in this business, not just because it's a brother to one certain politician who is in charge of the Lamata or whatever, and the person must be employed. Such must be taken out of this system, because you are moving thousands of people on daily basis. Not just moving them, there are commuters, outside, apart from the people that commute on the buses. There are also commuters that use the road, in Lagos, thousands, hundreds of thousands on daily basis. So one, we must talk of their experience. These drivers experienced drivers must be employed, and this idea of it must come from me, or it's my slot, I must give the number of slots to bring in, must be taken away. Must be taken away from the employment. Two, we have to look at the maintenance culture of those buses. How are they maintained? Like, every driver knows that before you start your car in the morning, there are some certain diagnosis you have to do on your own. You have to check the brake system, check the water level, oil, and all that. And when there are serious mechanical faults, that bus must not be allowed to go out of the workshop that day to go and work. Something like some of these errors of small mistakes of brake failure, those one can easily be detected if maintenance culture is high in these buses. These buses must be adequately maintained, because these buses move thousands of people on daily basis. We talked about 3 lives lost yesterday. It could have been more than that. It's just God, So the maintenance culture of these buses must standard, but there should be a level that the driver should be able to concentrate well when to doing my job effectively. So the welfare package, the remuneration must be something that is enhancing, that can adequately take care of some of their immediate needs, so that when they are on steering, their concentration level must be at least 100%. Then you have to also look at a situation where some of the drivers are overworked, fatigued. Do we know how many hours a day these drivers are steering? They are behind the wheel. Shift. This one will run so number of hours, then the next one will come. Not that the driver who drove till 9 p.m. the previous night, and he gets home maybe 10, 11 because of the hold up, and the following morning by 5:36 he's back to the steering again. He has not had adequate time to rest. His mental capability is not relaxed, and he's back to the job again. So fatigue must also be checked in an important transport system of this nature like BRT. When all these ones are put in place, spare parts must be available for the maintenance of these buses at regular time, at very, very regular time. No, let us just manage it. You don't manage such an important transit system of this nature, BRT. You don't manage it. So if there is anything that is not working well, good enough, park that bus, fix it before it gets to the road. These are some of the things Lagosians should be looking into, should be asking Lamata, how is this system managed? It's not all about making money. It's not all about increasing the transport fare. I learned so much. The transport fare is even becoming very unaffordable now to Lagosians. I says yes, but even at that the Lagosians that prefer it because of the fastness of the bus from one part of Lagos to another, Lagosians accept it. They have so many passengers that are waiting, queuing up, having the ticket. Then these buses must be put in adequate conditions to be able to meet the demand of Lagosians. I knew where conditions are those systems still there now. Is this still functioning in that manner and very affordable then? But subsequently, we are hearing different stories from BRT. We are hearing, the system is collapsing. So I think with some of these talk, some of these discussions we have now, we're going to use this to set another agenda for the operators. Like if
all right, thank you, Mr. Elvis. But there's a question I want to ask.
Before,
the times you used to, what was the condition like when you're inside the vehicle, especially when the driver is driving?
like I said earlier, at the time BRT came, I used to drop my car and take BRT to the island. Very conducive then, fully air conditioned, and even you can time your movement then. But these days, I even discovered that most of the tracks, most of their tracks on the express it's even a bad condition that they even have to leave their track and come and start competing and start struggling the hold up with the regular buses.
Exactly.
So sometimes I look at, is this how it's supposed to be? They have their track that made this bus rapid transport system.
In fact, Mr. Elvis, some of their tracks now have turned to parking spaces.
Have turned to parking space. Some of them are so dilapidated, even potholes in their that tiny tracks. So and it has even become an uncommon affair. You even see some commercial buses this downfall racing through their tracks.
Exactly.
This was not what that system was meant to be when it was commissioned. But these days, it's like everything about it are so relaxed. That's why we are saying now that BRT buses are failing brakes. BRT drivers are committing crimes. BRT buses are abandoned on the road because it has fault. You see them parked by the road. It will block the track, and as a result, the other BRT cannot navigate the track. They have to now begin to struggle the main road.
Could this be this attitude, right? This nonchalance, because apparently it seems every sector that has to do with taking care of things to run smoothly in this country has a sense of casualness. No one takes their responsibilities seriously because they feel they are either not accountable to the people they're serving, or they feel that the people should not be accountable to them. There's government approaches, government implementations, to just aid and assist people. They start up well, everybody's hailing it, everything is so nice, and then all of a sudden, it just goes down. They stop maintaining, they stop monitoring, they stop auditing.
Yes, Esther, it's like a very bad culture in Nigeria, especially anything that has to do with government, public sector. At the beginning, when it's inaugurated, it's like, this one has become the best. You see, everybody it's just like the rail system now. Everybody's talking about jump. I want to go to Ibadan. Let me go to the rail station and pick a rail. But now we are hearing that the train breaks down the road. Sometimes it says fuel, the diesel finished on the road. This nonchalant attitude is part of Nigeria, especially the public sector in Nigeria. We have heard of some transport systems, private transport systems that have been there, and they are still there till today. Look at the public. State used to have one of the best transport systems in Nigeria those days. Started from Midwest line, came to Bender line to Edo line. Today, there is no Edo line on Nigeria road again because the successive government came and grounded it. That's the same thing that happened to Nigeria Airways. Nigeria Airways used to be the toast of Africa. Today, Nigeria has no single aircraft as it's called Nigeria Airways. That is the problem we have with public sector in Nigeria. They will inaugurate it with all the fanfare, with all the billions sunk in, but instead of improvement, in the services and the qualities they deliver, you see them depreciating over a period of time. After a time, it will just go off the radar. It will become like, it's no longer in existence. And remember when such things packed up, so many people will lose employment. So many families will now go on hunger because the breadwinner that was working there has lost the employment, lost his job. So these are some of the things that brought this level of unemployment we have here, even in Nigeria today. Many of the functioning services before now are no more there. This BRT, I'm telling you, if care is not taken, in some years' time, it will become history with what we are saying. Except this government take the bull by the horn and say, no, this project must not be among the white elephant projects that we have seen in Nigeria that died prematurely. And try as much as possible to revive it for the benefit of Lagosians. Because this BRT services was one of the toasts of Fashola's government. When it was inaugurated, Lagosians felt a big hive of stress in commuting between the island and mainland. And even we have seen, extension of corridors these days. We see BRT from Oshodi, Babulegba. We see BRT now extended as Korodu and all that. So we should be able to, make it functional. That the purpose of the commission of this project must be for the adequate comfort to Lagosians. As we are not talking of the blue line now and the red line of the rail. Tomorrow, when it is inaugurated, it may equally become like this if we lose this, which has always been part of Nigeria problem in our public sector.
All right, Mr. Elvis, thank you so much. While you are still on the telephone line, remember that if you want to be part of the conversation virtually, all you need to do is just go to your YouTube application on your phone, click on the search bar, type VOP 90.3 FM, and then of course you'll see issues in the news. We are streaming live. You can also subscribe so that whenever we come live with any of our interesting programs for you, where you get to give your recommendations, where you get to talk about how things ought to be done and share your opinion and your contributions on the program, you'll be notified immediately. So why don't you subscribe on there? And of course you can send your comments right on Facebook. If you know you cannot access the phone lines, you just do that on Facebook. On YouTube, we're streaming live as well, and of course follow our social media handles so you're updated on any of the programs that we do right on here on Voice of the People 90.3. My name is Esther Nwachukwu, and we do this program Monday to Friday. The essence of this program is that we have burning issues that comes up every day. Sometimes it is important that we discuss these things. We must continue to discuss these things. It may seem like we're over talking, we're overemphasizing, talking about the same thing on and on. But if we don't do this, we wouldn't experience change. At this point in the nation, we actually need a slight move, something to move a little bit from the state is currently domiciled in. It's just like the country is just on a flat lane and nothing is pushing it. So we're not moving forward. It doesn't even feel like we're regressing. It just feels like we're stagnant. We need something to push. We need something to push the status quo. We need to move from where we currently are to somewhere better. We cannot continue to clamor, cry, complain, and nobody does anything. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Do you know why it is wrong? In a state that has a system, in a state that has policies, we have persons in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, to make policies, write bills, implement it so that we can have a synchronized system. We actually vote in individuals that will be in place of most of these sectors to coordinate, and so that we have a system of governance that helps everyone. A situation where that is not the case is wrong, and so the status quo needs to shift. All right, so you can call the number and be part of the program this morning, 0700 903 903 903, 0700 903 903 903. You can also send us a WhatsApp message on 0700 903 9039. 0700 903 9039. You send your message on there, we'll get to read it. On YouTube as well, if you send your message up, just write a comment on the comment section, we get to see it and read it out loud here on the program. Just go to YouTube, type Voice of the People 90.3, and which says, good morning, Esther. This time around, I'm not going to blame the change of Naira color on the CBN governor, Emefiele. I'm not going to do that, because if you're observant, you will decide ideas and tactics of governance as a military head of state to this day as a democratic president. Among these old ideas are ban on importations, border closures, grazing routes, and this new one, change of the Naira. All of these old tactics has failed, meaning we're dealing with a man that has no new ideas of running the affairs of this nation. This isn't Governor Emefiele's idea. It's Buhari's old ideas. Emefiele don't have a choice than to obey. It's Buhari telling us, apart from changing the color of the Naira, he can't fight corruption, kidnapping, and banditry. Remember Adu, he's trying in his own ways, or in his words, he says he's trying to make sure that we have cash circulation within the economy, boost the economy from its dormant state, and help, just help people. But most times it doesn't work, because people are still frustrated and the cash circulation seems to be truncated. If something about 3 or 4 billion naira is meant to be circulated, you're having 1 point something billion naira being circulated. There's a major shortfall in that regard. So is that part of the policy implementation for the money? When it comes to circulation, is that part of the monetary policy rate at this time? What about Forex? That's basically what I was talking about when I introduced the program, and he was able to talk specifically on that. That's basically what the message is on about. Anyways, we are still talking about the incident that transpired yesterday morning at 7 a.m. at Ketu Axis, where 3 persons died and some persons got injured. They died on the spot. And the question we're asking this morning on the program is this: who is in charge of the recruitment of top 8 transportation within Lagos State? So you don't have to sometimes ply the yellow and black buses. The idea is if those ones are charging 500 naira from one location to another, with the BRT bus, it's subsidized. That is basically what the aim of that bus is all for, in assisting when it comes to transportation. But now something that is meant to alleviate seems to be killing. So who is responsible for recruiting? That's one question we need to ask ourselves. Who is responsible for recruiting these drivers? What checks are put in place to monitor these drivers? Like Mr. Elvis rightly said, do they do shifts? Are the drivers overwhelmed? Are they overburdened? What's the pay structure like? Again, who are the persons that monitor to ensure that whatever needs to be done in terms of welfare for these drivers are adequately looked into? Unfortunately, when this driver did what he did, they said it's a brake failure. He fled off the scene. He had crushed people to death. People who woke up in the morning to go about their businesses and do their work. So the question is, who are the individuals? How did the government organize this? Or if it's in partnership with somebody, how did they organize it to ensure that, okay, this is how the system is going to be, this is how the monies will be collected, this is how we're going to go about the system of checkup. We check up on these drivers, see what they're doing, make sure they're not smoking or drinking before they enter these buses to drive off. You don't just enter the bus. You don't go through to see if your tire is okay, to see if your fuel filter is clean, to see if you have enough petrol, that your steering is working, and then people died for your carelessness, for a sense of casualty, because you feel you do not owe anyone any form of responsibility, or you're not accountable to anybody. How do we make people be accountable for their actions? Make them know that whatever it is you're doing, you're not doing it for free, you're being paid for it, and so you have to do it well. That's the question we're asking ourselves this morning, so we do not have people dying carelessly. All right, the number to call 0700 903 903 903, and you can also send a WhatsApp message on 0700 903 9039. And also send your comments on YouTube as well. Like I said, we are streaming live, so you can send in your comments. We get to read it right on here, so you get to be part of the conversation virtually anywhere in the world. Once you subscribe to the YouTube page, you're definitely notified when we are streaming any program live. Mr. Elvis, there's something I also want you to explain. In a state like Lagos, where we have a lot of persons residing, and we all observe these things. If you had joined the program yesterday, you'd have seen where Barrister Monday mentioned something about docility. Nigerians being docile, not acting when we see issues like this come up, and it's affecting everybody. Well, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Amu, opposite first start.
All right, go ahead, sir.
My worry is that the government enact regulations and laws for ordinary citizens about how they maintain their vehicles.
Okay.
Because every vehicle owner now has to go to a certain point to get their vehicle checked. If they don't do that, they are billed 20,000 naira.
Go ahead.
What do you call it?
Go ahead, continue.
But the government itself cannot even monitor their own bosses. Now, who is going to be responsible for the lives of the families of those people who died due to the carelessness of government workers? That's my concern. You have schools, you cannot put things right. You pressurize the private schools.
It's called
to have that. If they don't have this, we don't have that. The government itself is not managing its own part of it properly. So I think the government needs to, they need to examine themselves before they make life very difficult for the citizens.
All right, thank you. Thank you for calling on the program. Thank you. 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Esther.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you.
All right. Name and location, please.
My name is Charles.
Charles.
In charge. Are they listening? That is a big question mark. Nobody is taking note, nobody is taking action. I don't know the type of set of leaders we are having in this part of the world, for God's sake. Let me just give you a scenario of what happened some years back now. This labor boss, do you know how much this labor boss cost? I thought me there was just a little small particle of fire, smoke coming out. We were passing. Those was on the weekend, on the Saturday. They were flagging every vehicle to stop. Fire. Everybody, the whole occupants, everybody came down. Nobody stopped. But you know that on Monday, that is Saturday. It was Saturday evening. By Monday morning, when we pass there, it becomes a whole a case basket. It becomes the whole thing. Just look at. The labor boss cannot provide how much is the cost of fire extinguisher to put out that fire. The whole thing becomes negative. What are we talking about? I look at you, what kind of country is this? What set of leaders we have in this type of big part of the world called Nigeria? It's unfortunate. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for calling on the program. 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. There's something that the last caller said, and you could hear his passion when he was responding to what we're talking about. He said that if people try as much as possible, that is, if the government tries even a little to show a sense of responsibility, to care, things wouldn't be this bad, and people would even see a little light. People can say, okay, the government is trying a little bit. But then, like I said earlier, when it comes to government-run institutions, what is the process like? He said something that for private car owners, you have to go through roadworthiness check. You must make sure you go get your certificates that your vehicle is certified. It has everything it is supposed to have so that you can drive safely. Your lights are working. Your fire extinguisher is in there. Everything is in smooth condition. So he asked a very pertinent question. Who checks the BRT buses? Who is responsible for making sure that the process for public, or that is government-owned buses, when I even say government owned, it's not necessarily owned by the government because it's taxpayers' money they use to purchase these things. So who is responsible for monitoring them? That's a question he asked. If the government wants us to be accountable, do they not think they ought to be accountable to us? You say go and ensure that you register, you have an appointment fixed, so you check your vehicle, is roadworthy, you go through all the channels, all the process. Okay, what about the public utility vehicles? What about those ones? How comes that nobody ensures that there is certification to certify that this BRT bus is good to go? That somebody checks it and says, okay, this driver, you can't drive this bus out today. The tire is bad. It's either you check it. If it's so bad, well, let's change it before you carry any passenger. Or your brake is bad. Who checks them? Who monitors them? That's a question we need to ask, because we've had circumstances of this, BRT buses being involved in several things, and it's wrong. That should be a place, that should be one of the vehicles where passengers should feel safe. In fact, basically, that was the idea. Especially when we're experiencing this one chance scenario, you see people say, don't enter this bus. So by this time of the night, once you enter, you see only 2 or 3 people. You're not safe, And that was where this BRT bus came in. Okay, so long as you're in the BRT bus, you're safe. They'll drop you at the bus stop close to where you reside, but at least you're safe. No matter what happens, you're going home safe. But we're beginning to hear reports, negative reports about a system that is meant to alleviate the suffering of people. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. You can also send us your WhatsApp message on 0700 903 9039, and we get to read it right on here on the program. You can also send your chats on YouTube, wherever it is in the world you're currently watching this program. You just go on there and, of course, send in your comments, and we will definitely read it out on the program. The conversation this morning is that 3 persons got killed yesterday morning, and, of course, many others injured as well through a BRT bus that failed brake. That was basically what was said, that the driver who was driving the bus, the brake of the vehicle, of the bus, was bad. And when that happened, he fled the scene immediately. He didn't even wait. He wasted lives and then fled the scene. 0700 903 903 903. Calls are coming in, but they do not seem to stay on. 0700 903 903 903. Mr. Alves, before the last caller came, I was trying to ask a question. As I was saying that when it comes to roadworthiness, what's the process like? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay. I'm fine. Name, please, and location.
All right, thank you. I got a
Hello? Oh, we lost that connection. Please do call back so we hear what you want to say. 0700 903 903 903. You're currently listening to Issues in the News. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Chisom.
Chisom, welcome to the program. Location,
with
please.
Account number. With account.
Hello? Okay, I don't think you call account number. We're not talking about account number here. We're talking about a scenario that transpired yesterday, unfortunately, and persons died in the process. And we're discussing what is going on with government, what you call processes that has to do with government being a major stakeholder in it. And this time around, the transportation system, especially for Lagos State. What exactly is the process, the management process, the welfare process, the monitoring process when it comes to most of the state's governed aspect sectors that helps to just assist the people? Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello, good morning. All right, do call back. I don't know, I cannot hear you, so do try and call us back. Sometimes when you call, you may think we haven't picked your call. Just check that your call has connected. And remember that if you are somewhere where you cannot talk, possibly your ambience is not clear enough, you can send us a WhatsApp message on 0700 903 9039, and we'll get to hear what you intend to say concerning the conversation we're having on the program. Also on YouTube, you can send your chats as well. We'll read it right on here, the program too, so that we know what your thoughts are, what your recommendations are. Sometimes when we criticize the government. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
All right. Name and location.
Shooks calling from Mafoloku.
Chooks, welcome to the program.
My contribution to...
Hello, Chooks. Okay, I 903 903 903. Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. Okay, so calls are coming in, but it is not. Either it connects and we can't hear what the person wants to say. But like I said, if you cannot speak where you are, you can send a WhatsApp message and we'll read it right on here on the program. All right. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. And there again, we cannot hear anything. All right. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. This time around, I do not know if it is the network or it is something else. I don't know that, but I hope you're able to connect back with us. You're able to call back. Okay, like I said, if you cannot speak, you send a WhatsApp message and we'll read it right on here in the program. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Olam calling from Ijugo.
All right, go ahead.
You see, my take on the issue on the ground here now. If you look at government's own property, they are not sent to take responsibility of anything that happened to them. But if it is an individual's own property, the government agent ready to go at length to enforce whatever it is needed to be enforced. Okay, now, if you have to put your vehicle on the road, there's a whole lot of process you need to go through as per acquire the document that is relevant to that particular vehicle. Roadworthiness, what is it called? Driver's license, etc., etc. So, and you need to take your vehicle down to the authority, that is the agency that represents the government. You need to take your vehicle down there for proper examination.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the people responsible for source when they come to government-owned property, particularly vehicles that ply our route day in, day out? Because if you could remember, the same thing happened a couple of years back when this same BRT dashed to the other side of the road and hit Dangote's truck. A lot of people lost their life from Ikorodu to Lagos. One of my brother's daughter was also involved. He died, we lost her. So government, they are not living up to responsibility that people expect them to live up to. So, and to me, if these if this thing started reoccurring year in, year out, so that means we don't even have faith in government's own program. Because to me, BRT for that matter, the brake is not firm. If the brake is firm and, this incident happen, I know it can be natural disaster, but this one is man-made disaster.
Okay.
And it was quite unfortunate. The people that lost their life, how much are government going to give to their family that will replace their life? How much is it going to, that is even if they are ready to give out anything to the family of the deceased. Do you know how many people they have, ruined their life through that incident? And the guy fled, the driver. If the guy did not flee, that means they will kill him there.
Okay.
So government need to wake up to their responsibility. It is quite unfair. BRT, for that matter, does not have a very good brake. And the brake failed and, heated a commercial vehicle that conveyed people from one bus stop to another bus stop, and they lost their life on their way to work. And nobody, believe you me, with what happened that yesterday, listen, let us hear from government what they will say. What they will see. And the agents, I'm talking about the agents that, are in charge of the cross-checking of this vehicle, verify them, whether they are roadworthy or not. They are not doing anything. Once they discover that this property belongs to government, it is none of their business. Because they assume that, government owns property will be okay. How will you be, how will you have that assumption? See what it caused them yesterday now.
Okay.
So may God just, have mercy and protect the remaining people. So may the soul of the departed, may the departed soul, may God, give them eternal rest.
Okay. Thank you for calling on the program. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. The conversation we are having this morning is concerning the accident that took place yesterday at Ketu, precisely Ketu Market, yes, where a BRT bus crashed into a fence in the market and then killed about 3 persons who died on the spot, and some persons got injured. That is possibly some passerbys, persons who were along that route when the incident took place. And so the question we're asking is, who checks these drivers? Who monitors them? Who ensures that whatever it is that is needed to ensure that the vehicle assigned to them, that's the bus assigned to them, is properly functional, that it's put in place, everything is put in place properly, and then they get to work. So we do not have consistent occurrences where these vehicles are a form of endangerment to anyone who actually enters them or who happens to be beside them when any of these unfortunate scenarios occur. 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. You can also send us a message on YouTube and we will definitely read it out on the program. And this is from Oseni Yusuf. He says, only in Nigeria I have been in Europe for over 10 years. I have never seen these long buses getting involved in an accident. Thank you, Husseini Yusuf, for your for participating on the program, and that was on YouTube. I actually sent that message on YouTube. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Elvis. Welcome back.
Yes, sir.
All
Thank
right,
you.
go ahead. You wanted to say something.
Yeah,
The connection went
yeah,
off.
I wanted to talk on somebody that was talking about Nigerians being suicide. You see, that's the reason why these programs are up. Programs of this nature is to create awareness. Let me tell you, the government functionaries, they listen to all these things we are talking about. That's why sometimes you see changes come, maybe so, but you do come. We should not relent in talking. Awareness, advocacy must continue. Like some of the callers said, I knew when I was going to get the VIS certification, Vehicle Inspection Services certification for roadworthiness for my car, sometime early this year. I knew what it took me to get it. Now, if they can, be so strict in regulating private sector, private individual car owners, why are they not also so strict in regulating their own vehicles that are for public services? These are some of the things the masses, Nigerians, Lagos residents should be telling the government that they must check BRT buses before they put them on the road. They came up with a very strict method of acquiring a roadworthiness this time around. Before you can get a roadworthiness for your car now, as a private car owner in Lagos, you go through all the stress. Yes, that's good, because they want everybody to be safe on Lagos road. But it should also be extended to their own. They should not just be doing it to the private person and abandon their own. Because what happened yesterday can be checked. It's something that could have been fixed proactively if those vehicles were adequately maintained. A little thing can make that break to fail that led to that. So they should also extend it to themselves. Again, Lagosians must continue to strive and hold government accountable for comfortability in living in Lagos. Lagos has become a city that anybody that, when you mention Lagos outside Lagos, I just came back from my city, say, how are you guys surviving there? We must not be seen as a city that people there are there to commit suicide. We are not here for suicide mission in Lagos. It must be a state, it must be a city where we must live and live comfortably. But every information they hear about Lagos is always stress. And again, look at what happened yesterday. So if they hear this one again, say such a highly rated government transport system, that came up with a lot of fanfare, is having all these issues. So the government must come up and regulate their own, as they're also regulating the private sector too. I think it's important. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Elvis. Wow, you wouldn't know, but Mr. Elvis went off for quite a while. We've been trying to connect back, sir, but then sometimes this network cannot be dependable. All right, so it's a wrap on Issues in the News today. Thank you for those of you who contributed on the program. Like I said, we will continue to talk about these issues until something is done, until there is a shift in the status quo, until we achieve what we need to achieve. In the meantime, my name is Esther Wachuku. See you tomorrow and have an amazing day.